there's a rather large myth floating around in society that you need to have a purpose. You just haven't found your purpose yet. We've all got some magic little cheat code formula. It's called purpose. And once you find this secret, your life's going to be unlocked. You're going to have a wonderful life. And all those obstacles and hurdles and problems you have, they'll go away. And they won't matter because you've got a purpose. If only you could just find it. Of course, no one even explains why or what this purpose is or how to find it or anything like that. Because to be honest with you, I think it's all nonsense. I think for some people it works, obviously. If you have something you really love doing and just love doing it and it pays money to do it, well then okay, your purpose is to do that, But I think for a lot of people, because purpose is often tied to a career. Let's be real. Like when they say you need to have a purpose, they're really just saying get a job that you don't complain about. Pardon me. What if you just like the idea of being free? You don't need a purpose. You just like the idea of day by day exploring life and all of its confusion and wonder and bad, and you just want to live life on your own terms. You don't want a purpose. You reject that. Well, that's the wrong answer, isn't it? If you've ever had any type of mental illness, you'll find that one of the first things people will tell you is they'll tell you, you just haven't found your purpose yet. Not even religious people say this, even just like non-religious people say this as well. It's like, there's some magical purpose that you just need to find. It's like, you might be a person who, for example, how do I say, doesn't fit in. So a purpose sort of implies that you've got resources, you've got the ability to do things, not everyone does just have the ability to sort of fit in. We're all different, and as much as I'd love to think everyone has some sort of secret ability, that I think we're all different. Not everyone has. For some people, it's just about survival. For other people, it's just about minimizing pain. For some people, purpose might minimize their pain. It might make them feel better, but other people, it doesn't. Some people have to be distracted working on things. Other people don't. Like, we're all different. What I found is, it's almost like a cult in this world. People who work long hours, they love to dictate to everybody else what they think life is. Well, pardon me, I'm really sorry. Because they work such long hours, it is obviously natural that every other person wants to do the same. I just saw this thing in Japan. It was like the new prime minister she was bragging about how she only sleeps like 2 hours a night or something, as though that's something to be proud of. Like, I'm so amazing. And here's the thing, okay, say you are the prime minister and obviously sleeping 2 hours a night is terrible because your brain probably isn't going to work that well. But even let's just pretend that magically she's right and it's like good to have this magical purpose where you're, whatever. Because apparently Napoleon didn't sleep much. He just stayed up and, was, I don't know, thinking about your tactics and whatever. But not everyone's like that. Not everyone wants to do that. Some people enjoy free time. There's such a beautiful price to free time, a beautiful value to free time. Having complete free time, to me, is very valuable. It's like it feels like that's sort of like, to me, that's what life is. When I, for example, have to work really hard on a task, it to me kind of devalues life. I don't know how to explain this, if it makes sense to people. If I'm working really, really hard, and just for example, say that I had a situation where if I worked 10 years for 10 hours a day, every day, I would magically get $1 billion at the end of it. Just made up example, because I love to make up examples to illustrate my points. And someone said to me right now, okay, 34, but if you do 10 hours a day for, 10 years, every single day, and let's just pretend that, mortality doesn't exist. Let's just really stretch this example. And someone said, okay, you can work for 10 years straight, but I like contractually guarantee that you will get $1 billion in, US dollars or something, and whatever, right? That's all yours. You can do whatever you want. Okay, cool. The problem is what I find as a person, and I don't see people talking about this, that kind of, I don't know, it's probably a good, I don't know if it's good. To me, I wouldn't, it's a complicated thing, but I wouldn't necessarily be happy. Like, I'd be probably happy at the very end, but I would be very annoyed because while working hard, my brain often thinks, what's the point of life? Like, what is the point of life? I'm just going to work and then die. It makes no sense. But here's the thing for me, I'm the opposite. So when I have a lot of free time, it's like the opposite for me. I think, life's very interesting. I can think about consciousness, and I might make more videos about like consciousness and stuff. Because of my own personal channel, I'm not really, technically whatever I want to talk about, it's cool, but I'm not sure what like ideally I'm supposed to talk about. But I was going to talk more about consciousness and stuff because I've got a lot of very, very interesting insights and experiences I've had in that realm. But the thing is, when I've got free time, it's actually quite easy for me just to sit back and like look at this. Like I had the lunar eclipse. I remember looking up and honestly, I think I was looking at it for about half an hour non-stop. It's not dangerous. It's just a moon. It went red. It's not dangerous or anything. I was looking at it for about like half an hour straight. I didn't do anything. I just stood there like eyes open, like, whoa, It looked like, I was on some sort of substance. I just couldn't believe how beautiful. I looked at the stars, the moon, and I was just pondering life and why society is the way it is. I really was, honestly, I wish I'd started the channel and I could have filmed myself talk, because it was such a spiritual moment for me. But that's not something, money can buy. Well, I guess money buys free time, but, working in a job or whatever, you don't get that beautiful, or for me, my experience is, I don't want those moments of, well, I'm working really hard. I like those moments in life where I'm just sort of looking at something, like, when I was at the top of a mountain in New Zealand, or when I've seen, when you go whale watching, or, when you look at, like, you swim with fish, like I swam with turtles and stuff, and, things like this. Or I swam through a school of fish once, like they're very slimy fish. They like, in the Great Barrier Reef of Australia, they sort of like, they swum, they're here, and they sort of like swum around me, and like, they're really slimy. But anyway, random story. But what I'm saying is, little moments like that where I go, oh wow, I just swam through a school of fish. Like, it's so random, but to me that's kind of like what life is about. Because I'm not a naturally happy person. So for me, that makes me appreciate nice things in life a lot more than a lot of people do, if that makes sense. Because I have such severe depression, when someone's really funny and cheers me up, I'm really, really grateful. I'm also very grateful for all the wonderful comments, by the way. But what I'm trying to say is, there's this thing in life, like, you have to have some sort of purpose. But if I go out and I like play with my dog, and when I had a cat, I'm just like looking at this animal and thinking about, oh, what do they think? This stuff's very interesting to me. Looking into an animal's eyes and going, wow, like, how do you see just this stuff is interesting to me. Exploring consciousness. What was it? What was that quote from that Greek philosopher? The unexamined life is not a life worth living, or whatever. I sort of, to some degree, feel like that. I sort of, a purpose sort of implies that I'm going to be doing some long thing, which, to be honest, if I had a lot of money, I have a lot of interesting things I do, like regreen the desert and Nauru and all sorts of stuff. But apparently that's just a stupid idea because, I'm poor. But if I had a lot of money, that would be an amazing idea. But it's like this thing in life where you're just expected to have purpose. You're expected to have some sort of thing you go to, and it's a nudge, like a job. Like, it's a job, go on, have a purpose, job, high-paying job, low-paying job, doesn't matter, it's a purpose. And truth be told, even if people do have purpose, it's often for things outside of a job, because not everyone can have these amazing jobs that do wonderful things, flying around the world or whatever. You see this a lot with like young families and stuff. Obviously, a lot of people don't want to have children, and to be honest, I totally understand that. But for people who do have children, and some people like having children, some people like having children, other people sort of regret having children and don't enjoy it. But for the ones that do enjoy it, they probably feel a sense of purpose, but it's not like in a financial sense. It's just like they feel connected to whatever they're doing. And so for me, I don't think purpose should be manufactured like I think it is in society. I think it should be something that people just, if you have it, great, but if not, you don't need it necessarily to be happy. That's the whole point. Like, who am I to be giving advice on being happy? Look, probably not the best person, to be honest, but I'm a very depressed person, which ironically has given me a kind of weird insight into how happiness works. I don't know if that even is true, but it's my opinion, because, I guess on my channel I share my opinions, because that's what you do. But yeah, I hope my little video made sense. I often wonder whether these videos do even make sense, but it seems so far they sort of make sense. That's a good sign, and thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.